Hi, I'm attorney Gregory Dell with the law firm of attorneys Dell and Schaefer, and I want to take a few minutes to give you a few tips if you're considering filing for either short-term or long-term disability insurance benefits. One of the first things you have to do is read your disability policy and really be aware of some of the key provisions within your policy. One of the most important things that you have to look at first is what's called the pre-existing condition limitation. Now, the reason this is important is because if you've been either purchased or received your policy within the past year, it's likely that you have a pre-existing condition provision in your policy, which basically says that if you've had a condition within 3 months or 6 months of you buying the policy or receiving the policy, and then subsequently make a claim for disability benefits within 1 year after the date of your policy being issued, then your claim will be denied because of the fact that you have a pre-existing condition. Another factor you have to be aware of with this pre-existing condition is what things did you tell the disability carrier about at the time that you applied for these benefits. Again, if you have a group disability policy from your employer, it's likely that you did not have to fill out any paperwork in which you were required to disclose any type of pre-existing condition. So that's the first thing you want to look at. Next thing you want to take a look at is, what is the definition of disability? Is it unable to perform the duties of your own occupation that you're doing at work, or is it unable to perform any gainful occupation in the entire world? And there's a big difference, because if it's own occupation, then you only have to be disabled from what you do. But if it's any occupation, then the disability carrier is going to be able to look at your claim and determine whether or not you could do any job for which you have experience, education, or training. All right, the next thing you want to consider is, do you have a doctor that's going to support your claim for disability and say that you cannot work, whether it's your own job or any job? If you don't have a doctor right now as you're watching this video and as you're considering filing a claim, then there's no way your claim is going to be approved. And often you need more than just one doctor to support your claim in order to really have a great chance of having your claim for benefits approved. And one of the other final points that I want to give you in this really short video is, you really have to make sure in some instances that your employer or your coworker, somebody at your work, is aware of the difficulties that you're having. And you may say, you know what, I don't want anyone to know my business. But the reality is that if you have a group disability policy, that the disability carrier is going to reach out to your employer and ask them specific questions about your job duties and things you were doing. And often when they reach out to coworkers, if there's a coworker or a supervisor who knows nothing about your condition, and the day before you were able to work, but the next day all of a sudden you weren't able to work, then it's going to raise an issue of concern. So I like to point out a few tips that you could consider before you file a claim so that you can avoid the chances of your claim being denied. We always offer a free consultation. We welcome the opportunity to provide you with a free review of your disability policy, and we look forward to the opportunity to speak with you to let you know whether or not we think we can help you with your claim for disability benefits.